Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Illuminati. The man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes Illuminati on Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Nine men were arrested for allegedly digging a tunnel behind the wall of a synagogue in Brooklyn.
Nine men now facing charges after police say they dug a secret tunnel into the sanctuary of an Orthodox Jewish community in Brooklyn.
Police describe the suspects as students of Chabad Lubavitch, and they are accused of digging the tunnel so they could have access to the sanctuary after hours. But when a cement trunk was brought in to fill in the tunnel, the men refused to leave the space.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo has the story from Crown Heights.
This sacred space turned into grounds for chaos Monday. Police arresting 9 young men accused of breaking walls to gain unauthorized access in Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue on Eastern Parkway.
It was very tragic, obviously. It bothers everyone.
Baruch Dehan witnessed the pandemonium, and today he's one of the many congregants stuck praying outside. The house of worship temporarily closed while city inspectors determine whether the building is structurally safe.
It's usually only one time a year that it's closed for a few hours, which is the eve of Passover, which they have to clear it out, clean out the place. Other than that, it's open 24/7, so it's kind of hurting.
Synagogue officials described the perpetrators, now charged with criminal mischief and reckless endangerment, as extremist students.
This is obviously very distressing for the Lubavitch community and around the world, and Jewish people everywhere.
It's believed the vandals went rogue, trying to expand the synagogue, even digging underground to do so. When a cement truck was brought in Monday to make repairs, the accused vandals caused mayhem.
Ultimately broke through the wall in the sanctuary and vandalized that wall. This is a site that's of great importance for Jews all around the world, and we're looking forward to the decorum and sanctity to be restored.
Lubavitch officials say they've been involved in a years-long court battle to gain what they call proper control of the premises. Congregants just want to worship without drama.
Everyone knows this is not the way the Torah wants us to behave.
Police continue to keep a close watch on the synagogue. 5 of the young men accused of vandalizing the building are due to be arraigned on their charges tonight. Meanwhile, the 4 others were issued desk appearance tickets, released, and expected back in court at a later date.
Now, in this alleged incident that took place at the global headquarters of the Chabad Lubavitch movement of Hasidic Jews in Crown Heights, a secret tunnel was found dug under the synagogue, leading under a series of buildings. And after leaders of the Chabad Lubavitch movement allegedly found this tunnel dug under the synagogue, leading to a series of buildings, they allegedly contacted contractors to be able to close up this hole that had been dug for these tunnels leading under the basement of these buildings. And as a cement truck allegedly arrived to deliver the concrete that would be able to close off this tunnel, what happened was several members of a radical part of this Hasidic Jewish movement of Chabad Lubavitch staged a protest. And as they staged a protest to keep the tunnel open for them to be able to have a passageway to worship at the temple, this is where police were called. And after police were called, there was an altercation which became a brawl between police and worshipers, which led to the arrest of 9 individuals who were given desk appearance tickets in relation to the brawl between themselves and the police. Now, the police are seeing this as an isolated incident But when I take a critical examination of the alleged behavior that these individuals participated in, it definitely fits the pattern and profile of behavior of beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. Now, these individuals who allegedly dug this tunnel under the synagogue were looking to possibly participate in behavior that I talk about in The Man Crisis regarding the secret world. Now, these individuals say that they allegedly dug the tunnel because they wanted to be able to worship at the temple whenever they wanted and wanted to gain access to the temple whenever they wanted. However, the temple was allegedly open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and that basically shows me these individuals were not looking to worship and follow the leadership of the men who were in charge of the synagogue. So what we have here are a group of males who do not want to submit to the male authority and male authority figures who ran the synagogue. And because they didn't want to submit to the leadership of those male authority figures, what these individuals did was look to participate in behavior like I talk about in The Man Crisis regarding being in a place called the secret world. Now, because these individuals wanted to be able to express their expression of religion as related to their masculinity in a secret way, what they wanted to do was gain access to the temple in their own way, and this is what led to them looking to create this series of tunnels, which basically came from one apartment building through all of these other buildings, leading to the global headquarters of the Chabad Luvach movement. And what these individuals wanted to do, these radicals, as the individuals in the Chabad Luvach movement say that they are, wanted to worship their own way, but what they were actually doing was looking to enter a place I call the secret world. And as they enter into the secret world, they wanted to be able to worship in their own way without worshiping with other people. Now, according to religion, again, people want to be able to share and come together under religion, but these guys didn't want to do that. No, they wanted to have a smooth world where they didn't have to deal with the conflicts, problems, or obstacles of submitting to the authority of the leaders of the Chabad Luvach movement, nor did they want to follow the order of things as related to the movement. So these radicals basically wanted to go in a different direction, and because they didn't want to submit to the authority of the men in charge, what they wanted to do was find a place where they could participate in their own secret worship, and that's basically what motivated them to dig under the basement of these buildings. And as they looked to dig under the basement of these buildings to have their secret worship, what they didn't see as they were looking to have their smooth world was how they were going to make life just that much harder for the other followers of the Chabad Luvach movement, because what they were doing was jeopardizing the health and safety of others as related to these sites, because when you dig tunnels under buildings, you're doing overall damage to the overall structure of those buildings, because there are walls in these buildings, and these walls are there for a reason. And if these individuals had not understood where they were digging, they could have easily hit a load-bearing wall, and that load-bearing wall could have caused structural damage that could have led to the building possibly being put on the brink of collapse. But because these individuals were not thinking critically and were just caught up in their feelings about being able to worship in their own way in the secret world, they weren't thinking about the health and safety of others as a part of the movement in the Hasidic Jewish community, and what they were doing was putting other people's lives in jeopardy so that they could have their smooth world and be able to worship the way they wanted, not understanding that the temple is for everyone. And because the temple is for everyone, everybody should be following the leadership of the rabbi. But what these individuals wanted to say is that they were following the plans of the Grand Rebbe and looking to create this tunnel under this series of offices and lecture halls. That's what they said that they wanted to do as related to things. But what they were doing in an effort to preserve their unauthorized access was they were basically participating in a very dangerous plan that they said was long envisioned by the former head of the Chabad movement. But the whole thing is, if you want to participate in making these tunnels, you have to follow the laws of the government. And that's where we have a problem with these individuals. They believe that because they are a part of a religion, they don't have to follow the law. But according to the Bible, it says that you should follow the laws of the government, and part of that is getting the permits to be able to participate in construction and get the consultation of contractors who can tell you where you can go out here and remove material to make it safe for everyone. That's what a person does when they are transparent. But when you have individuals who believe that they are radical, they don't want to follow rules, they don't want to deal with boundaries because they know that they possibly will get denied. So these individuals don't want to think about the health or safety of other people by getting proper permits or proper paperwork. No, what they want to do is things their own way. And because they believe that they are a part of a religion, they believe that they are above the law. And that's what these radical individuals believe, if you want to believe the official story. Now, the official story says that these individuals, again, were acting on their own. However, I just have to wonder if that is the accurate story, because if there's a hole in the wall of a building, I would like to think that a lot of people would notice that hole in the wall and notice individuals coming out of that hole in the wall and see that as a serious issue that would need to be dealt with. I mean, for this hole to be there for an extended period of time, that would show that possibly somebody in authority possibly knew about this building and this tunnel and knew about it for some time, but they possibly felt like, oh, since people in our community, in their community, knew about the hole, but the whole thing is city officials didn't know about it. This is where they wanted to cover up the hole to keep their world smooth, and sadly that's what led to the world getting rough for these individuals. And it started to get rough because what happened was the people who benefited from this wall and being able to have their secret worship started to look to push back. And as they looked to push back, this is what led to the brawl. But the main reason why you have the brawl is because you have a group of men who did not want to submit to the authority of the men who were currently in charge. No, they wanted to follow the authority of the other guy who had basically died, and they wanted to continue on with that mission. But that shows how these individuals really were not looking to follow the lead of the men who were in charge. And that's what happens with a lot of beta males. They don't want to follow the authority of male authority figures, and that's where they create chaos. And that's what happened at this synagogue. And this whole synagogue, sadly, led to this brawl between themselves and worshipers. And this is basically shows what happened here with these males to make them men in crisis. But this whole situation shows what happens as related to the law with certain groups. They believe that they are above the law, and that's why they believe they can do whatever they want without having to follow any official laws. That's what happened here that led to the building of this tunnel. This group of individuals thought that they were above the law, and some of them thought because they had political influence over politicians and big business, they should have their smooth world where they can build however they want. But this could have turned into a tragedy had this been a load-bearing wall that they wound up digging under. This could have led to a great tragedy that could have cost the worshippers of the Chabad Luvach movement their headquarters, and it could have cost many people their lives. And this is what happens when people don't think critically and act on their feelings. What happens is they act on their feelings impulsively, not understanding the consequences of their actions on themselves and the group. And that's what's happened here as related to this entire situation regarding this tunnel. It could have caused structural damage to the property because with it being dug without permits and permission from the city, this could have jeopardized people's lives. And what's really sad here is that this all could have been avoided had these members went to the authority figures and asked them to create a plan to build a tunnel under the building. This could have been done safely and provided access for everyone, but these individuals didn't want that access to everyone. No, they wanted to be exclusive. They wanted to have a secret place for their secret worship in the secret world, and they wanted to be in a place where they thought they were above the law because they thought their religion gave them authority. But when it comes to people, we have to follow the laws of the country, because those who think they are above the law put themselves in a dangerous place, and these guys basically put the entire organization in jeopardy with their reckless and irresponsible behavior. And I don't know if it was sanctioned by other individuals, because for this to go on, it definitely had to be sanctioned by someone. But I'm not going to get too much into this, because when it comes to certain groups, you can't say but so much. But this whole situation is a textbook example of what happens when you have men who are out of control. What happens is they wind up becoming men in crisis. Now, this was a video requested by a viewer, and if you want to request a video, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to learn more about what leads to males winding up participating in dysfunctional and out-of-control behavior like this, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Now available for the first time in paperback. Stop simping in the workplace. Men, learn what you need to know in order to protect your job from workplace predators with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available in paperback at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.